Patti Jackson, candidate for Pierce County Sheriff.
Yes.
Patti, tell me what prompted you, what made you want to jump into the race for sheriff?
Right. So thank you for taking time to speak with me. And so when I started the department 35 years ago, I had thought that this was going to be a very short-term, job for me. And once I got into working for the sheriff's department, it was something that I realized and recognized that I absolutely loved to do, and decided that that would be my career. And so 35 years later, I'm here, and I still really, truly like who we are as a department. And I truly like who I am as a person and a leader, and I am excited to be able to, continue that pathway to ensure that we are really what we've been known for, which is the best law enforcement agency, not just in the region, but in the entire state.
If elected, how do you think the Pierce County Sheriff's Department will be different 4 years at the end of the term?
What I'm hopeful at 4 years at the end of the term is going to be where we are back at a place where we have regained that loss of public trust that we've felt in the recent past. And I hope that the men and women that decide to come to work for Pierce County like they're doing so now, I hope that they feel that the actual, just the responsibility and the trust that the department has in them, that has also bled over into the community, and the community feels safe, and the community feels like they are heard, and the community feels like the law enforcement agency that is serving them is doing just that, serving the Pierce County community.
And on that note, this is a community that has had a pretty rough year with law enforcement. We had Ed Troyer's trial. We had the Tacoma officers that went through a trial and were found not guilty. There are communities here who vocally say we don't trust law enforcement. That may be a difficult task to rebuild trust with them. What do you plan to do there?
Right. So it's not something that I plan on doing. It's something that I'm doing now. And so as the current, patrol chief, right, the chief of the patrol operations, I have been out in the community and speaking to the actual community members and listening to what their concerns are. And then not just telling people what they need, but listening to what their concerns are and providing answers, transparent answers that sometimes are liked, sometimes are not, but of who we are and kind of how we can better serve them. And so I think that one of the things that we need to do to rebuild that trust is to show up. And if we say we're going to do something, to do that. And if we can't do something, to let people know why we can't do it.
Yeah. I want to touch on juvenile crime. That has been a big issue, not just in Pierce County, but throughout Washington. With a lot of the challenges in juvenile crime, getting juveniles detained, outcome resolution of their cases, treatment options. As sheriff, what's your plan for getting a handle on juvenile crime?
Right. So unfortunately, I think that there is this misperception that, and maybe there's some truth behind it, in the case where people say, hey, we have, had juveniles that have been in certain areas to where they were questioned and maybe they needed parents or, something, that their legal counsel to be able to be with them as well. I will tell you that right now, the crimes that are being committed by the youth are adult-sized crimes, if you will. And so the violence and just, the actual chaos that they're creating and then not being held accountable for is something that is a big problem for us. And I feel as if the policy makers, the policy writers, the decision makers, we've got kind of a little bit of a shift where we said, the minds aren't, fully developed, and so therefore we're a little bit softer. We need to get tough and hold people accountable. We can't hold people accountable just based on our own beliefs. We need to work together with partners and like partners and go up and speak to legislation. This is exactly what we're seeing and experiencing. This is what it's doing to our community, and this is the plan that we have where we could hold people accountable. It's not just something that we can police our way out of. We need to make certain that the prosecutors are also, on board and in support of the actual, the judges, and then also that the laws are in line with allowing us to hold people accountable to their crimes.
That's a bigger job than just what the sheriff can handle.
Yes, sir.
This is probably the toughest recruiting environment in law enforcement history. How do you break the Pierce County Sheriff's Department apart from other agencies and attract the top talent?
Right, and that's a really good question, because right now we all are vying, if you will, for from the same pool. So individuals take a test through, one of the public testing, services, and then they go and they send their scores out, shotgun their scores to other agencies. So we need to set ourselves above, and apparently we're doing well at that. We have been able to come down from almost 50 vacancies down to 13 on our patrol operations, and then also, pushing 90 vacancies, and 87 vacancies on our corrections bureau down to 40. And so we're doing something right. We are going out and we are, talking with the public and letting them know that this is the type of agency that you want to serve. This is the type of agency that we allow you and support you and trust you to do police work.
Those are the main questions that I wanted to hit with you. Is there anything else, any other message you want to put to voters right now in why you should be the candidate they select?
Right. So I started this race, in what I call a very true north direction. And so I have told the voters, who I am, 35-year veteran of this department. Patti Jackson, right, 35-year veteran of this department. I've told the voters where I've come from, and I've really worked my way up through every position in the Corrections Bureau, and then I've been able to, as an executive member of our command staff for the past 9 years, have been in that executive leadership position. And that my leadership style obviously is something that I believe in, trusting our members to be able to do the job that they have to do, and hopefully being able to provide them the tools to do that. I have not strayed, either way. It's a non-political, non-partisan position, and I have maintained that. I've got three pillars, right, that I really stand behind. Being tough on crime. We need to be able to hold people accountable to our ability and what we're able to do, right? What happens next after we arrest them is really something that we'll work in partnership to get tougher on. But it's not necessarily something that we can change straight away, but we don't stop holding people accountable. The second is to make certain that we are working in partnership with agency experts, so that people that do need services, right? We didn't even touch on that people who are plagued by drug addiction, challenged by mental health, right, challenges, and that those individuals have services provided to them by subject matter experts that we're working in partnership with. And finally, just regaining that trust that the public has lost in our ability to do policing and to maintain a safe community. And together, all three of those things are a very good solid platform for a great solid plan to provide law enforcement services in Pierce County, Washington. So I'm Patti Jackson, and I would be honored to be your next Pierce County Sheriff.